Here we go.
I've been looking forward to this since Nevada and Ohio, baby.
Well,
since that bowl debacle and some of the play calling, and then it just went right in to Buffalo and Houston. I can't wait for this. This is going to be something.
First of all of the buildup is concerning. Okay, my father taught me at a young age you need to manage expectations. If you expect the worst,
I agree with that.
Everything else is a pleasant surprise. Like he used to tell me.
Hey, that's how I approach every single movie that I watch.
Expect the worst.
I go to every movie thinking it's going to stink, and then that way, whatever. If it's great, okay, so be it. I don't want to go in thinking a movie's going to be the best thing of all time.
So Mitch Moss, who really is the father of this concept, said it's a top 5. So whittling this down to 5 was took me the whole week. I mean, because we had 10 by the end of the day Saturday.
Yeah. So it's
really by midday Saturday.
Right. It's like the 5 biggest mistakes from
gaffes. I would say gaffes.
Gaffes from officials, coaches, whomever.
Could be players,
Could
right?
be, sure.
I have to. I kind of got creative and did a 3-way tie for 5th. But let's start with the honorable mentions because there was just too many. I'll start off with Luke Fickell, the coach of Cincinnati in this bowl game against Boston College. They got an hour-and-a-half rain delay. The field is in terrible shape. Every 4 or 5 plays, there's an injury timeout. He's throwing the ball. He's up, what was it, 31-6, Paul? 31-6 in the fourth quarter. He's running. He's throwing fly routes, and then when he gets the ball back, he's running hurry up. He makes first downs, and he can take a knee. Oh no, don't take a knee. They're rushing to the line and running the ball. They went 4th down. They converted, got first down and goal at the 4 with a minute to go. I mean, it's 2 knees. Oh no, run up to the line, dive, didn't get in. Run up to the line, dive. I mean, it didn't affect the point spread. It affected some totals.
Second half total.
Totals, right.
There's 2-3 minutes left. He's throwing it and going, hurry
They're
up.
snapping the ball at 24, trying to run the clock out with 3 minutes to go.
It helped me middle the total, actually.
Yeah.
With the hurry up.
I got it. He was texting me because I was in a meeting. Start getting on this total with the rain. He got it at 49.5. I got it at 45.5. Todd Wishnev got it at 43.5.
There you go.
One of the worst beats of his life, he said. One of the worst beats amongst many. Then my second honorable mention has to be Jay Norville in this famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I mean,
this is an honorable mention?
It's an honorable mention.
Wow.
Just because of the magnitude of the game.
Okay.
But first of all, when he's down there before, let me start here. Solich is gashing them. They're just running the ball down their throats. Yeah. They're up 30-9. Why is he throwing the ball? Sack, fumble, gets them back in the game. But now when they're down 10, or they're down 9. I don't know why you go for 2 there anyhow. You should be down 8 when he did score the touchdown. He's down 8. He gets first and goal. What was it, 4 or 5 minutes to go? He runs that trick play double reverse and turns the ball over. Now he gets back down there under 2 minutes, 4th and goal from the 9. You're down 9. Kick the field goal, onside. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, even Jimmy, who doesn't really comment on, Jimmy Vaccaro, who doesn't comment on coaching, says you just can't believe what you see in these games. You can't make it up. So now let's get into it. Number 5, Mindless Media. I created a 3-way tie here because all of these are just special. You thank God for little favors, and one of the little favors he does for you is that ESPN usually confines Rod Gilmore to Friday night games. And Friday night is a party atmosphere at the D, so we rarely have the volume on the ESPN football game. And most of the year, you don't have to listen to Rod Gilmore. But unfortunately, on January 1st, the early game, it was a great game, Minnesota and Auburn, we got to hear his call. I want to say this. I think that the most impressive performance of the bowl season was Minnesota. They beat up an SEC team, and P.J. Fleck coached circles around Malzahn. But Rod Gilmore was incredulous both times in the fourth quarter when P.J. Fleck went 4th and 1. The first time, it was 4th and 1 from the Auburn 28. When he ran that play there, he got stuffed and they let it continue, and he fumbled. I'm not going to go on results, but he's got to go there. And then the second time is when he's trying to run the clock out on that final drive, and he's got 4th and 1 at like the 42 or the 41. And he's like, is he going to go for it? Is he going to try to draw him out? Of course he's going to go for it. And they made it, and they ran 8 minutes off the clock and ended the game. But what's he watching? How does he not understand the strategy? The second tie here is Booger McFarland. And we didn't hear this clearly, but thank you to the audience and our fans who tweet these things out. the 3rd and 10 with no timeouts left. 15 seconds to go from the Houston 29. This is his exact quote. If I'm Sean McDermott at this point, you almost just got to run a quick draw play, get a few yards, and spike it. Well, the game would be over, Booker. The game would be over. You have no timeouts left, and it would be 4th down. Nobody calls him out on this stuff.
No correction.
Nobody ever makes any correction.
He's not exactly Bob Dancer with the math, is he?
No, not quite. He also commented on Allen's poise during the game. I mean, he threw a 50-yard pass into double coverage to the fullback and a blind tossed a lateral in the last 2 minutes of the game. Great poise. He had a grounding call and then a sack for 20 yards on 4th. Tremendous poise. Great job, Booger.
What a disservice to the listeners that take in Monday Night Football and now the playoffs to have that guy in the booth. I said to him, I thought Jason Witten last year was the worst I had ever heard. This guy's worse.
Greatest setup for Romo ever Saturday. Having to listen to Booger for 4 hours, then you get Romo.
Yep. Can't get the job unless you played the game, right?
Yep.
You got to have these jocks in the booth.
And then I think we have the clip on this, John. If you're out there, NESN, tweet us out. Who is this woman?
I know this is a disappointing evening for you, but Pats Nation, your fans have stuck with you through thick and thin. Social media, they still love you. Do you have any message for the fans who are so supportive of you and the team?
Great answer by Belichick. I'm not seeing the thin. Who's talking about the thin? Six Super Bowl titles, 9 AFC championships, 11 AFC title games, 17 conference titles. Where's this woman's perspective on life? Not just sports, but on life to say through thick and thin. Who is she? I can't find it out. I've been looking all week. Now, I can't. Somebody said, oh, it's this girl Sullivan. No, it's not. I looked up that. Who is that lady? Come on, Boston. You have to know.
I'm going to speculate. I could be way wrong. I apologize if I am. I told Paul before the show when I saw her with that video, I think she's a fan that got in with the media credential.
You think she's a fan?
Who wears a hoodie when you're covering a game? I don't think I've covered 1,000 games. I've never seen anybody wear a hoodie to a game.
It's possible.
Dress up like you today.
It's possible. Or also a non-sports person. All right, let's move on. Number 4, 4th and 27, Sean McDermott. What is he thinking here? You're on the 39-yard line, 1:35 to go. You have all 3 timeouts. The chances of you converting that are like 3%. Punt them down, get the ball back at midfield with 1:15. You probably have a shot at the end zone to win the game. Now they say, oh, it worked out and he got to go to overtime. But still, you cannot make that decision. There's nobody telling him, hey, punt the ball. Hey, punt the ball. I was with you guys. I said, he's pooch punting it. Allen's going to pooch punt it. He's deep. There's no way they can go here. No, they went. Number 3, this could be number 1 many weeks, but Tony Corrente. I mean, just the whole fiasco. Back when the Patriots played in Houston on that Sunday night game, I put out a tweet about Tony Corrente cannot be officiating anymore. They were so confused about all these calls. And then I looked up, and he's doing the wild card game in Houston. In 1990, Ben Dreith, I think you guys will remember him, NFL referee, did 2 Super Bowls. He turned 65, and the NFL told him you have to go to the replay booth. We can't have a head official 65 or older. He refused. They made him a side judge, and then they fired him. He sued. The EEOC found in his favor, and the EEOC actually sued the NFL, and they got a judgment for him. He never did officiating. He's still alive. He's 94 years old. Corrente is past this point, okay? Let's talk about the start of the second half. The touchback in the end zone. I mean, what is he doing there? DeAndre Carter, he flips it. He fakes, and then again flips it to him. The rule states if the returner makes no immediate attempt to go forward, he's conceding himself. Corrente's going like this. Free ball, touchdown. Here's the second. And then they have the 2 alternate officials you have. They have to come in and explain it to him after discussion. How about this point that nobody is really talking about? If he did rule it that he hadn't given himself up, it's an illegal forward pass and it's a safety. It could never be a touchdown. All right, let's move on. The blindside block call. And Mike Perea, who is the Fox expert on this, had a great tweet about it. We know it's in there for safety, but that is not a blindside block. People say, well, he was looking at him. Here's the point. It's the head, shoulder, or forearm. It's the force of the block when you're coming back towards the line. All he did was get in his way. He just put his hands up. Ridiculous. And then finally, let's talk about the delay of game that wasn't called on the 3rd and 18. This is the drive that wins the game.
Yes. It's on 0 for 2 seconds.
I did it with the stopwatch, Paul, with the tape. I got 1.8, 1.9. You're right.
Wow.
2 seconds. Now, here's the thing. That's the back judge's responsibility. He has 3 things to do. Count that there's the right number of men on defense, watch the tight end, and look at the play clock. I've seen at times it just hits 0 and it snaps. That was really, really, really egregious. That's got to be something the competition committee puts in. You can challenge.
Review it.
Right?
Yes,
You have to be able.
They get away with murder.
And in overtime,
they don't call it.
In overtime, they should review that from the box. Let's move on to number 2. Peyton bungles the end of both halves. In the first half, he rushes to the line, and they throw up. He could have run it down to the 2-minute mark. There was no need to rush a play off there. You're trying to have the last drive of the half, throws the interception. Then when Minnesota gets first and goal at the 1, or at the 5, with a minute to go, he lets them run the clock down to 30. So he has no time, and he has to kick a long field goal and misses. Then the second half, why doesn't he call the timeout with 2:48? That's the biggest mistake.
That's terrible.
The biggest mistake, not the runoff. He doesn't, and he lets them punt it and doesn't get the 2-minute warning. He doesn't take the runoff. He goes to overtime with the timeout in his pocket.
Take the timeout
and we
with
consider him the top 2 or 3 coaches in the game.
How about Aikman? I like the
Yeah, I like the decision.
Joe's like, what, are you kidding
Great
me?
list. Got to hang on to number 1. Okay.
All right, we'll hang on till after the break.
Okay, that's coming up next. Peyton power rating
Way down.
way down.
Way down.
Mcdermott, I could not believe what I was watching with you
Way
on
down.
Saturday. Way down for him.
Drew Brees, 500 in the playoffs career now.
Yep. And nobody ever calls him out.
No.
Nobody says a word about Brees or Peyton.
Nope.
It's incredible. Why is that? Number 1, no hyperbole, coming up next. Continue here, roll along with Mike Palm. Wednesdays with Mikey, Circa Sports, downtown Las Vegas. Coming up in about 10 minutes, he's going to tell you about the best result in the history of Circa Sports. How about that? Happened over the weekend. We'll finish up here with no hyperbole, the biggest gaffes of the last week from coaches, officials, maybe a player. You did the whole list except for number 1. Who do you have at the very top?
You know, if we'd have started this at the beginning of the college football season, I think this gentleman would have appeared frequently. Mario Cristobal. Wisconsin has no timeouts left, and he calls a pass play. Set the stage. They're up 28-27, 3rd and 3 from the Wisconsin 37. Now, here's the key point. 1:10 to go in the game and no timeouts. You run the ball. If you get a first down, the game's over. If you don't get a first down, you take a delay at that point. So the worst it's going to be is you're punting with 25 seconds left. You kick the ball up in the air and try to get it somewhere in between the 10 and the 5 that they won't fair catch it and let it roll. But even if you kick it through the end zone, Wisconsin gets the ball with 15 seconds left at the 20. And their chances to win that game are less than 1%. Instead, you're going to give them the ball back with 1:05 to go? It's unconscionable. How can you call a pass play? You know,
This is
Rob,
the same guy who didn't take a knee against Stanford.
Sure.
and is running hurry up 1 touchdown against Oregon State in a drive he could have eaten the
That's
clock
right.
off of. So Rob Mullins, the AD at Oregon, or Phil Knight, or whoever makes this decision, I would have fired. I wouldn't have let him get on the team plane coming back. I don't care. They won. How can you do that?
And you know the problem with the reaction to that was people will go space and say, good move.
They loved it. Look
It
at
was
the courage to call a pass play.
I was watching the game with a gentleman that we call Sooner Adam, right? And they're thinking about what's going to happen. And I go to him, knowing crystal ball, he's going to throw the ball right now. And he goes, there's no chance he's going to throw the ball. I'm like, give me 3-1. He goes, he's not going to throw the ball. I said, give me 3-1. 2 seconds later, he throws the ball. He almost fell off his chair. He's like, what's the guy doing? How do you make that call?
You should have got like 50-1.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Tomlin does it every week. Tomlin was doing stuff like that every week. I saw he did it back-to-back weeks. Out of timeouts, less than 2 minutes, he's throwing the ball on 3rd down instead of running it.